Hello and good morning. I am the man they call Meathead. Welcome to PWR Today. Good morning, wrestling fans. It is April 1st, 2021. It is Thursday, and I'm excited to tell you that we have wrestling news for you. But we would not be anywhere without our sponsors. We'll bring in Matthew Thomas in just a moment, but first let's talk about manscaped.com. Ladies, you know you love a manscaped man. He's been out all winter long. He's grown a big bush. I want to make sure you get that thing manscaped. If you head on over to the website at manscaped.com and use the promo code PWR, which stands for Pro Wrestling Report, you could save yourself 20% off. They're not going to manscape 20% of their bush. They're going to manscape 100% of it and get it silky smooth for you. Just like David the Zohan Hero. He's manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com. And our friends at collarandelbowbrand.com as well. When we talk to Matthew in a moment, I believe he's got his brand new Collar and Elbow brand gear. He used the promo code PWR360 and he saved himself 10% off. Uncle Al would be happy to hear that you're shopping at collarandelbowbrand.com. Now let's bring in my friend and yours, Mr. Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
He kind of looks like a baby.
Hey, good morning, Meathead. Happy Thursday to you.
Hey, whoa, calm down, buddy. Happy Thursday to you as well. I'm excited. I don't know if you could hear it in the tone of my voice. I'm excited to talk wrestling on a Thursday morning on April 1st.
It was a great night of grappling last night. And I really look forward to just kind of breaking down, analysis by analysis with all the great matchups and
Sure. And you made a joke there, and you gave me the opportunity to make a segue when you said break it down. Let's talk about D-Generation X. There is a little bit of news as we continue to have the man over at the Peacock Network continue to censor the World Wrestling Entertainment Network content that they bring over to the Peacock app and their network. The next to fall is the D-Generation X parody of the Nation of Domination. Has been removed from the WWE network and will not be on the Peacock network. I can tell you that I'm pretty hot about it right now, as you can hear. I can tell you that it was probably something that should have happened because it wasn't what Triple H did. It wasn't what Road Dogg did. It wasn't what China did. It wasn't what Billy Gunn did, and it wasn't really anything else. It was what X-Pac did. It may have been acceptable in those times in 1998 or 1999, whenever that happened, but X-Pac is in blackface, imitating Mark Henry, and that has been removed from the WWE network. Matthew, I want you to collect yourself, and I want you to tell us how you feel about the parody of the Nation of Domination being removed from the WWE network on the Peacock.
Well, when we were going over the various segments last week that we're most likely going to get the axe, left on the cutting room floor, if you will. I can't believe that neither you nor I discussed this. We did discuss the Roddy Piper segment, and I can't believe this one eluded us. We didn't quite think of this, but I don't think it should come as a surprise to anyone. And you got to think there is probably a young intern somewhere in some very dark, dimly lit room, watching hours upon hours of this content. And you just got to wonder, if that person is a professional wrestling fan, if they have any familiarity with the product, or if this is just kind of this alien culture that they're watching, and just a gasp with their jaw on the floor.
Yeah, and to be honest, it probably gets them really worked up, kind of like we are about it right now.
Yeah.
Very worked up over how, how just irresponsible maybe we were in 1998, 1999. And, it has to go. Again, nothing personal against anybody who performed in this sketch. I mean, the sketch was hilarious, but, it was insensitive. So, excuse me there. Here at PWR Today, the Pro Wrestling Report Today, for those that don't know what PWR stands for, we understand the Peacock and we accept it and we move forward. Speaking of
I do have a question. I need some clarification. I know what PWR stands for, but is today an acronym, or does that stand for today?
No, it stands for today, like
Oh.
in the English language. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. It's
I got you.
now today. Correct.
It's the present tense of the day.
Present tense. Yes.
Yeah.
As I was saying with my segue, we've got to move on. Let us move on to All Elite Wrestling, the AEW in All Elite Wrestling. And Matthew, your overall thoughts on AEW before we kind of go into the segments?
Well, I thought they really put up an outstanding show. I left last night's AEW show thoroughly entertained, as you can tell by my excitement. It was a fun show, and if you could go back and listen to the previous day's show that you and I did on this very podcasting network, one of the comments that I said is this would be a very good opportunity for them to kind of gain a little bit on the WWE this week with the women's division. WWE on Raw, which took place on Monday night. That's Monday Night Raw. They did not feature very much of the female talent. I think it was just delegated to a 10-minute segment, if I'm not mistaken. And last night was AEW's night to really, put forth a great effort in that women's division. And I think they answered that call.
Let's talk about how the show started off. We were waiting with a bated breath for the return of Christian Cage to in-ring competition. It happened for us right away. No fanfare at the beginning of the match. They started right off with Christian Cage walking out. Matthew Thomas, this match damn near went almost 20 minutes. I had to take bathroom breaks for this match, not the commercial breaks, because I was watching during commercial, because that's my favorite time when there's, commercials and wrestling at the same time, because that's how I watch my wrestling. But during the commercial breaks that I gave myself, they were still wrestling Frankie Kazarian and Christian Cage in an amazing match. Christian Cage is now 1-0 in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Frankie Kazarian was 11-0 in 2021. Your thoughts on the returning Christian Cage?
I thought it was a great inaugural performance by Mr. Cage. And, as he's been telling us week to week, he does work very hard. He puts in a lot of work. And, if you go back and you watch this match, I don't believe he took a lunch break. And that's important. Although I was tempted to take a lunch break, I too like to watch during commercials. And it wasn't as much with AEW, but when we discuss NXT, one thing that I'm seeing pretty frequently week to week on NXT, a lot of chicken commercials, a lot of commercials for chicken sandwiches. Everybody and their brother, they're really upping their chicken sandwich game now. You've got your chicken sandwich from KFC, from Popeyes, Chick-fil-A is always a big contender. Yeah. So, that's I really like my wrestling with a good side of chicken. And
how do you like your chicken smothered?
You are a meathead.
I'm not a huge fan of. I like a good crispy chicken. I'm not a huge fan of
dry but crispy.
Yeah, of condiments. I do give me a little bit of mayonnaise on a chicken sandwich. That goes a long way. Maybe a tomato. I'm not a huge. I think there's a big trend in the burger industry now to just really put anything you can think of on top of a burger. You're starting to see that seep into the chicken industry a little bit, which I don't like. I'm still kind of up in the air on pickles. I've had pickles on some chicken that's good. I've had other pickles on other chicken that just really didn't do it. I do think the effort that Popeyes is putting forth, it probably needs to be spruced up a little bit. I don't think at the end of the day you can get by with just chicken and pickle. You need a little something extra there. So I'm not gonna fully endorse what they're doing over at Popeyes. But nonetheless, I think Christian Cage did an excellent job.
I just love chicken talk. It is probably one of my favorites. You can see I'm getting all worked up here. Chicken talk. I love to have my chicken sometimes smothered. Have you ever tried a chicken sandwich with a waffle bun, like chicken and waffles?
Yeah, I've had some very good, chicken and waffles before too. It's nice. Just, we just, you just got to catch me at the right time to have me with the savory as well as the sweet stuff like that. Normally, gotcha. I don't like to cross those streams there, but occasionally, it's a nice little delicacy. I think as much as I like the chicken sandwiches, I think you get the right crispy skin to meat ratio with a chicken tender. I think
Oh,
a chicken
yeah.
tender, I think, is the most wonderful approximation of your meat to crispy ratio. Your meat to skin ratio, if you will.
Gotcha. Let's talk about a Sting to Darby Allin ratio there, if I could segue. The champ told Matt Hardy that Hardy would have to earn his respect because his money doesn't mean, well, chicken. We can't say that word here on the air. But I was thoroughly entertained by wearing the paper mask of Matt Hardy over Darby Allin in black and white. Your thoughts?
Oh no, I mean he does that. It does that quite a bit. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think a young Darby Allin might have been one of those extras in Eyes Wide Shut a few years ago.
Oh, I remember that movie. The exhibition match with special guest referee, the Enforcer Arn Anderson, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, with Dustin Rhodes and Billy and the Nightmare family, basically, against his best friend, QT Marshall. Cody promised he would let go of moves and continue to let go of moves. I believe that's an insult. I'll give you an example. If I'm ever playing one of my younger nephews or when my children get older and I'm playing video games with them, I will not let them win because it's an insult to them. I will let my children know that I'm going to continue to beat them, and when they finally do beat me, they really beat me. I didn't let them win.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I can side with QT Marshall, and it's an insult to have Cody say, I'm not going to really go in there. I'm not really going to try my hardest. Man up and do what you got to do. And I believe QT Marshall was right in going after him. Maybe not with the rest of the Nightmare family that they were training, but Matthew, thoughts?
And just like that, they've made QT Marshall a believable heel. And what do the best heels have in common? They've got a cause. They've got a reason they're a heel. They don't just show up on your wrestling program and say, hey, I'm a bad guy. Let me grapple with you. No, they have a reason that they are a bad fellow. Like that guy in those Marvel movies that did the thing with the thing on his hand. He had a reason for being a bad guy, and that makes bad guys believable. Basically what I'm saying here is QT Marshall is the Thanos of professional wrestling.
There you go. We have a new tag team that has been formed, and they will be in competition next week, Monday. It's All Eagle Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. They're going to take everything and anything they want, and it starts on Monday as they team up to face Matt and Mike Seidel. Your thoughts on Ethan Page coming back and Scorpio Sky really not in SCU anymore with the retired Christopher Daniels?
That's a lot of animal analogies there. You've got scorpions and then you've got eagles. Scorpions.
Matthew, I said ego. Echo Golf Oscar, not Eagle.
I was going back to Jake Hager back when he was accompanied by the back
those
when he
were
was accompanied
fun
by the
times.
eagle.
Oh.
Yeah, and that eagles can fly. I don't think scorpions. I don't think they don't get as much distance as eagles. I think scorpions, they kind of fly like ducks. They have about that distance. They don't fly that far.
Fair enough. Were you aware, sir, that Jon Moxley has a new nickname?
Is it the Mox? Is that what they're calling him?
No, the purveyor of violence, Jon Moxley. And he was in a wrestling competition with Cesar Bonani, with Ryan Nemeth and J.D. Drake.
No, when you're a purveyor of something, that means you view it, right? Like you're purveying. I'm purveying this. I
think a purveyor is more of a provider.
Oh, it
providing
provides.
you
It doesn't. I got you. I was thinking about the other word when you
surveyor.
Surveyor. Yes, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking about the people you see on the side of the road.
Here now. This is Pro Wrestling Report today, sir.
When you see people purveying land, I thought that's what he does. He does the thing before the architects get in there. He makes sure there's enough land to put your building on.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about an architect that might take it to the pinnacle. And again, that's a segue, what we do here in PWR Today land. MJF had a gift for the pinnacle. I thoroughly enjoyed his gift of a tailor and an interior decorator. and said there's something foul smelling in the restroom. And as he opened the door, I saw Chris Jericho and Santana Ortiz along with Sammy Guevara. As they try to run out the other door, there is Jake Hager, and it was on like Donkey Kong. See what I did there? That's a call to later on in the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts of Inner Circle and Pinnacle head to head.
I thought it was an absolute wonderful reveal. And AEW, it is a land that is just absolutely inundated with stables and groups of gentlemen who belong to clubs and whatnot. But this was
I love a nice club.
This was fun. This was a stable faction that really intrigued me. And yeah, I mean, everybody needs to belong to a good club. I know you were in Pinochle Club for a while, and
I love a mean game of Pinochle.
Yeah. Well, I know there were some issues with you regarding their dues. They were trying to raise up the dues, and you didn't quite agree with that. Did you ever get that remedy? That situation?
That's what I did there.
Yeah. That's what you got to do when you're in that good old Pinochle Club.
Right. There's 6-man tag action, or trios, as All Elite Wrestling will refer to it. The AEW World Champion, Mr. Kenny Omega, and the Good Brothers, and they are really good. Mr. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, with Impact's Don Callis, he's a vice president over there, taking on the trios of the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Mito, and Rey Fenix, and Laredo Kid. 6 competitors, 1 manager at the end. It got a little funny and dicey at the end, but what happened was, and I'll tell you guys about it right here. Once the competitors left the ring, there was Jon Moxley. He came out, and it looks like it was going to be a 3-on-1 due to the shenanigans that happened. And the back shenanigans are wrestling terms for stuff that we don't really necessarily like. The Young Bucks came out to the aid of Mr. Moxley, the purveyor of violence. And once they entered the ring, those 3 gentlemen left the ring. Matthew, thoughts on the Bucks teaming with Moxley?
They what is the saying that the enemy of my friend is my enemy, or the friend of my enemy
is my friend.
The enemy of my enemy is my my friend. So yeah, Jon Moxley is able to team with the enemy yet.
Okay, let's talk women's action. You had referred to this earlier. This is a callback. The Native Beast, Nyla Rose, and the Bunny with the Hardy Family Office and Vicky Guerrero. That's a lot of people taking on the AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida and Tay Conte with the Dark Order. Tay Conte is in the Dark Order. Lots of interference. Vicky Guerrero costing the match for Tay Conte. The winners of the match, Nyla Rose and the Bunny. There was a lot of action in this, Matthew. I'd like you to tell us what your thoughts were for the women this evening.
I think that the more I see of Tay Conti, I think she can really be a breakout star in that women's division. But I want to go back. This is how you book. If you go back to last week, Tay Conti picking up the win over Nyla Rose to become the number 1 contender. This week, the Bunny defeating Tay Conti in tag team action. It does not take Tay Conti's stock down, because this was a tag match, so it's not necessarily viewed on the same platform as a singles match does, but it really helps the Bunny without it hurting Tay Conti. If you go back and you open up your Booking 101 textbooks, this is how it's done. This is how you get people, you get people over, and you really elevate stars by that win-loss record that AEW prides themselves on. So really good movement here in the women's division. And I want to say something else too. We're starting to get not just the women's division, but a lot of these stars, the stars that they're trying to push. You're seeing them on a weekly basis, which sounds simple and straightforward, but with the size of the AEW roster, AEW for a while, and I mean, it's Impact. Used to be very notorious for it back in their TNA days. You'd have people that, would have an impressive showing one week, and then you wouldn't see them for 2 or 3 weeks, and the audience tends to forget about them. There's a very small, short attention span amongst much of the general populace these days. And what was I saying?
Short attention span.
Oh, Oh yeah, and yeah, good job AEW.
Here's a team that we here at the Pro Wrestling Report today can surely get behind. Chuck Taylor, who is a Kentucky gentleman, and Orange Cassidy, who is freshly squeezed and takes his time doing a lot of his work.
Yeah.
In the main event against Superbad, a villain, Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford and Miro. I think really in this time for Arcade Anarchy, see what I did there? Call back to the Donkey Kong reference.
Oh.
It didn't get outside to the video game cabinets until later on in a match, but I was most impressed when they started making their way up the driveway. Matthew, I'm a big fan of Trent's mom.
That's what she said.
There's Trent's mom's minivan, and look, it's Trent. Trent is healed and ready to go. I believe Trent has come back a lot sooner than we expected. I loved that he kissed his mom because, again, there's nothing wrong with a good all-American boy giving his mom a kiss on a ride to work. Trent comes and helps the team of Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor get the victory over Miro, Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford. Your thoughts on the match and Trent's mom?
What I really want to give AEW credit for here was the creation of the quintessential arcade environment. A lot of people this day and age, if you go into these arcade bars and cities where everybody's trying to get that little nostalgia push and trying to capitalize on, this, that, and the other, what's missing from a lot of arcade bars, non-video arcade games? They brought all of the top hits out. It wasn't just your video games. There was air hockey. There was whack-a-mole. And most importantly, there was a claw machine. It seems just, goes without saying, but how many arcades do you go into now that the ones that you can find that do not have these necessities? And, here's the thing. And I think a lot of these retro arcade bars, they really miss out on the fact that, there was a certain generation of kids that went to the arcades that, they liked the arcade video games, because the graphics and the presentation was better than what you could have at home with Atari or NES or Super Nintendo. But, there's some people at the tail end of that to where, your graphics on your arcade games, they were almost in line with what you were putting out on your N64 and whatnot. And the true treasures of an arcade are those things you can't replicate in your home. Even nowadays, you can have your new PlayStation games with these insane graphics, but how many people are really going to put a whack-a-mole in their home? How many people are going to put a full scale?
I've whacked-a-mole, Matthew Thomas. I have whacked-a-mole in front of a lot of people before. It has happened. I have slowly whacked a mole, and I literally love to pull my hammer out and whack a mole as hard as I can.
Well, not everyone worked, with that extermination company, like you did. So not everybody's had the privilege, of a whack-a-mole at home. Mm-hmm. And they really, they brought the whack-a-mole out. I was also a big fan of, there was a spinoff. It was geared more towards children, yes, but I was a child at the time, where it was an alligator variation of whack-a-mole. And that was quite entertaining because, the alligators, they were more of a true to form replication of what alligators look like. The moles to me always just looked like they didn't see, there wasn't much detail there, and as someone that is looking to whack something, I want to make sure I'm whacking the replica of what I'm supposed to be whacking. Right. Whack-a-moles, it's just these little black round objects coming out of the hole. And
hey, Matthew, at that time of your life, during that age, you're just grabbing a hold and whacking as hard as you can. So let's move on to NXT.
And I do want to say, and I'm not that proud of it, but there were several of those alligator games where I would actually cheat, and I'm not proud to say it, but I would whack with the hand that was not holding the mallet. I would, being the ambidextrous individual.
So you were whacking with both hands. I understand.
Yeah. And, I won a lot of tickets that way. Don't get me wrong. And there were probably some, the machines that did record the high score for the day. Yeah. There were some high scores there. Did it make me feel good? No, not especially, but,
Matthew, you were doing it wrong because every time I whacked it, I felt good after I was done. Every time.
we've all got stuff in our past that we
Yes.
regret, and I do feel better about getting to air some of that. But kudos to AEW for really just
Sure.
making a presentation of the of the full
Arcade experience.
of
Yeah.
the full arcade experience. And two, just I do want to touch on the air hockey very quick. There's the home replica air hockey. I actually had a home replica air hockey, but let's get this straight. In order for something to truly be air hockey, the air has to be present. I know there were other variations where, yeah, you would have the whole process, but you would not have the actual air coming out of the machine, and that really makes the game much more unpredictable because, yeah, you're controlling the puck and whatnot, but you do have that ventilation system there. So in order for something that calls itself air hockey to be proper air hockey, you do need that air ventilation.
You didn't have to yell at us, but thank you very much for giving us that.
I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about.
Yes, you're passionate about holes and whacking. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we talk about here at PWR, Pro Wrestling Report Today. Sometimes we talk about whacking and holes. Again, let's give a thank you to our sponsors, manscaped.com, and our sponsors, Collar and Elbow. Again, boys and girls, let's make sure you're not carrying around a big pubic bush. Let's make sure that's all cleaned up and Manscaped with manscaped.com and at Collar and Elbow brand. If you can't find anything after you've manscaped yourself, maybe you can go ahead and get yourself a merkin. Let's say that somebody from manscaped.com donates all their proceeds after they're done manscaping.
Yeah.
Maybe collarandelbowbrand.com will sell us a merkin. Who knows? We'll have to see. That might be available on the internet as well. And you could save 10% with PWR 360 at collarandelbowbrand.com.
It's all a cycle. It's all a cycle.
Let's talk about NXT and cycle on over to the other show. This may be one of their last shows on the Wednesday nights, as they have announced that they will be broadcasting on Tuesday nights following WrestleMania. So the Wednesday Night Wars will be expiring in just a few short weeks. Matthew Thomas, this show started off with quite possibly one of my favorite and most fun characters from the WWE NXT brand, Mr. Cameron Grimes. He is somebody that takes it to the moon. He tells people to kiss his grits, and he also enjoys just getting in there and spending his money. Your thoughts on Cameron Grimes defeating Roderick Strong, Roddy, as he called him?
Well, I've got to go take back something that I said just yesterday on this very program. I think we were in agreement that there was most likely no way Cameron Grimes was picking up the W. A lot of people refer to W as it's an acronym for a win.
And you're not referring to George W. Bush.
No, not that.
Speaking of Bush and manscaping, thank you.
Oh, that's a different W. And
do you think George W. Bush manscapes?
I'd imagine. I'd be very shocked if he didn't.
Do you think he sells his Merkin? Nah, let's continue on. Let's talk about grappling from last night.
Yeah, but hey, I want to go back there. I know post presidency, he's actually. Were you aware that he started painting?
No.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not pulling your leg. I'm serious.
You've been
George.
known to be a jokester.
I know, but look it up. You can document this on the internet if you want to. George W. Bush actually has started painting quite a bit in his post-presidential career. I've seen some of the stuff. Some of the stuff's pretty solid. So, he's an artist. And, that fine attention to detail there, it probably carries over to other aspects of his life.
Oh, that's amazing. The NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar, he wrestled Tyler Breeze last night, and he got the victory over Tyler Breeze. Remember, we technically have two NXT Cruiserweight Champions, Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar, and they will have a ladder match next week, right before WrestleMania, an NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell also defeated Gigi Dolan and Zeta Ramir and challenged the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. I love when Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon come out on a tank, especially when Shotzi's shooting her missiles into the ring. It gets me all excited.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting gimmick there. Not every day do you see Well, what's funny is the parallels when you really step back and you really look at NXT and AEW last night. You had someone on a tank on NXT, and then you actually had AEW finishing up a segment with someone who was once on a tank at a WrestleMania.
Oh, that's interesting. My significant other, my beautiful wife, asked why Miro from AEW looked like he was wearing LOL gear. Friends, look that up on Google and Google LOL children's toys, and it looked like he was wearing LOL outfits as well. Zia Lee defeated Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. Now, I believed that we were going to get the woman in the chair, which is what I'm going to continue to refer to her as, participant, but she did not. Now, she was not blowing smoke when she was going to go ahead and maybe involve herself in this match. Pun intended. Pun intended, as she blew smoke into our friend Kaden Carter. Kaden Carter passed out on the ramp. Matthew?
Oh my goodness! Not to be confused with punt intended, which would have been a very, very good phrase for a former commentator turned NXTer that we saw a few months back. Huh? Remember him?
Correct. Yes, he is quite the competitor and podcaster and Hall of Fame punter.
Just does it all. That's what you call a Renaissance man.
But your thoughts on the woman in the chair blowing smoke, literally in the face of Kaden Carter?
This is turned into kind of just a fun, not your everyday run of the mill wrestling storyline, and I think it's very entertaining for what it is.
Okay, we were very confused on how it was going to work last week when we were talking about the 11-man battle royal, which was going to be a qualifier for the Gauntlet Eliminator. We know who the competitors were, but the final 6 that were left in this battle royal were going to move on to next week. Then, in the order that they were eliminated, would be the reverse order of how they could qualify for the tournament next week. So, what we had to get us down to the final 6 was Kushida and Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne, both taking each other out of the ring, and Kushida not removing his submission hold. Therefore, those two will have a match next week. The final 6 competitors that were left that will move on were in a battle royal. I loved how this ended. I found it very entertaining that Dexter Lumis stayed in the corner and stared at people. The final 3, Dexter Lumis, Cameron Grimes, trying to make it to the moon, and L.A. Knight. Yeah, you big dummies. That's his words, not mine. Were the final 3. Cameron Grimes attempted to purchase his way into the match. Wasn't having it. The final 2, Dexter Lumis and L.A. Knight. L.A. Knight tricked Dexter Lumis by going through the middle ropes while he was standing outside, pulled him down, went back in the ring. Your winner. And he will come into the Eliminator Gauntlet next week. Last, L.A. Knight. The winner of that gauntlet on night 1 goes on to night 2 to face the North American champion, Mr. Takeover, Johnny Gargano. Matthew, tell us.
Fantastic match. I did not quite realize, for some reason I thought the bell was going to ring once we got down to the final 6 competitors. But I like the fact that the rest of the elimination, really sets the stage for next week. And I think it came down to right now the 3 most entertaining competitors outside of Austin Theory. I would have liked to have seen Austin Theory get a little bit further. Because I really enjoy what he's bringing
Austin
to the table.
Theory eliminated himself because he's so smart. Did you see what Austin Theory did? He was like, my feet are still in the air, so I'm still in a match. Let me jump up again.
Yes, he kept up, and I think that was very entertaining. But and the fact that Dexter Lumis just stood there in the corner, and that's the thing with these battle royals and whatnot. So many people are so eager to mix it up, and just him standing there taking his time. I thought all 3 guys did a great job of, really getting over what that character is supposed to be. And
you sound so excited over it. Calm down, slow down, buddy. Tell us how you feel.
I know. I gotta try to keep that in check there.
Sound like you're getting all sweaty.
Great job by all the competitors. And if you go back and you listen to yesterday's yesterday's podcast, I think we very, very emphatically, we stated that LA Knight was winning this thing, and I think our track record speaks for itself, Mr. Meathead.
You are the man they call Matthew Damas.
That's true. That's true.
Recoined again this previous Tuesday morning with you and the lovely Linda Kay.
Yeah. It never hurts to remind the audience of that.
Well, folks, that has been an entertaining show for April 1st, 2021. For Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. I'd like to thank our producer, Piper, in the background as well. Piper, would you like to send us home tonight? Say, good night, Piper.
Goodbye, Piper.